Shut up and sit down.
Oh God, here it comes. Oh, hot, 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 hot. Hot, 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 hot.
Going on a bike ride, sidewalk on my right side. I could go anywhere.
Feel the burn.
Going on a bike ride, nothing but the sunshine. I could go anywhere.
You are listening to the Dialed Podcast with Mathieu Grant,
Sir Ian Gibson,
Lance Hepler, and Jake Von Turing. Enjoy the podcast. It's a spicy one.
Hot garbage.
And the barbell sings. What a simple thing.
Ow! Heat was hot.
Going on a bike ride.
Hell yeah. Cancer-free, sharp brain, plenty of energy, terrible breath. Conclusion, coffee is the
Hi, welcome back to the Dial Podcast. I'm Jake Von Turing. I'm here with Lance friggin' Hepler.
What's up, mother?
Dodgy wankers.
Let's drop the F-bomb. Let's drop the F-bomb right as the podcast starts.
Right up.
Disney money. What about our Disney money?
I blew it.
Gosh, we are
Mine's
so close
already
to
going like, how do you edit that?
We're like, let's cash that Disney check. Wait, hold up. Nope. That Disney sponsorship is blown.
I've blown it.
Oh, geez, here we go. To his right, the one and only Sir Ian Gibson.
Hey, it's your very own pretend knight of the British Empire.
Token British guy. We got token.
Unlike Mark Cavendish, who is currently now officially Sir Cavendish.
A real knight.
Yeah.
Dude, I just noticed Jake's phone case is the same as mine, but he has a much cooler tripod for it.
Yeah, I had to get a new one. My other one broke, so it was time for something new.
I like this.
Peak design, same case.
You can throw it on top of your bike if you want. Like I have the bike part thing. Yeah. Anyway,
Jake, I'd appreciate it in the future when we talk about Cavendish, if you would refer to him as Sir Cavendish. I think it would only be respectful.
I think that sounds reasonable.
No. I was going to say something else, but I'm just going to say no. Two Ian's right. One and only. The other one and only, Matt LeGrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? You guys look one, and you look only. Very only.
Or lonely?
Only.
Are you lonely?
No. My wife just flew out. I took her to the airport right before the podcast, and she is flying back to Michigan. Visit the family.
She's done with you, huh?
She's done with me. Yeah. So, yes, I am lonely.
I have family in town now, too.
Nice.
So, not under pleasant circumstances. I have
same.
Yeah. I have a brother-in-law. My wife's brother lives in Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh.
They just got completely hammered. Asheville is uninhabitable at the moment.
Yeah.
They still have no power. They have no water. Hurricane Helene did way more damage than expecting.
Yep.
It brought in 20 inches of rain in like a few hours. And in Asheville.
Did you call them up and you're like, it's sunny?
No.
Sunny and 75 out here.
Phones didn't work. Cell phones didn't work. The towers were down.
Did they just show up on your doorstep and knock on your door? And they're like, sorry, phones didn't work, but I hear it's sunny and 70 here.
It took them 4 days to get out of Asheville.
Yikes.
Because no electricity, no water, no gas. They couldn't get gas in their vehicles, and the freeways were destroyed. So they couldn't get out. So some friends drove from Tennessee or something and brought them gas so they could put in the vehicle to get far enough out of town to buy gas somewhere else.
That is bonkers.
Yeah.
And their cell phones still work, though, yeah?
They couldn't, their cell phones didn't work until they got like a ways out of town.
So how did they contact these people?
I don't know.
Smoke signals?
Smoke signals. Yeah. I don't know. Just a mess. So they left Asheville. They've got 3 kids, but 2 are in college and one's like 12
where one of those like satellite
old.
phone things really comes. It's like that's the stuff that's like, wow, this stuff is a lifesaver when you need it.
So
just you never know when you're going to need it, I guess.
They spent the last 3 days. They drove all the way across the country, and they're here in Vancouver staying. So they're here in Vancouver and they may be here for several months. So just to
good because you're gone. You're like, make yourself
come stay at the house. Come stay at the house. We're leaving. Just take care of things. Anyway, sorry. We're glad my brother-in-law and their family are okay. Their house wasn't damaged. They lost several trees in their yards, but it's a mess.
Yeah. That's terrible. I mean, there's so many people that are displaced, and even worse, gosh, we have no idea how many people lost their lives. And as of today, it was over 200.
It was over 200. There's probably thousands because there's lots of cars and things that have been washed away that they haven't found
and there's
yet.
Lots of people in very rural areas that they just have no idea. They can't get to them. It's a mess. So
it's a mess.
It's really unfortunate.
So we're sorry for Asheville and Western North Carolina and part of Eastern Tennessee. It just all got hammered. Anyway.
Yeah. All right, let's change gears. Let's do something else. Let's backpedal. Lance, let's get you done and out of the way.
Okay, I'm going first. I raced my bike. How many days has it been since we recorded?
Been about 5 days. He's raced about 27 times.
I've raced 3 times. So I did end up doing both races last week. Saturday was the first cyclocross crusade race at the Fernwood Rock Quarry in Molalla, Oregon. And I haven't talked to a single person yet that liked that course.
Oh, no.
So last year it was super wet and muddy, and it completely rutted out and was a very difficult, muddy course. And nothing had been touched since then. And so all the muddy ruts were now super bumpy, hard as rock, whatever. So it was a very bumpy, difficult course. Oh, man, come on. Cross Crusade, do a better job. You guys are good at what you do, and you did not do that good. I hate to say that live on air. I guess we're not live. You can just
It's live.
edit
It's live
this
right
out.
now. It's live to me, yeah.
Okay, so
Changing my mind.
but nobody was real happy with it. Enough so that I showed up. I did a couple laps on my cross bike and pulled out my mountain bike.
Oh,
And I raced my full suspension mountain bike on the cross course.
Did you have to go over to your car, knock on the door, hey, open up, and then let me get this bike?
The only reason I only had my mountain bike because it was just in the van. I just hadn't taken it out. There was no reason for me to race the mountain bike or take it to a cross race, but
It just happened to be in there.
it happened to be in there, so I ended up racing it. Was it faster in some sections? On all the flat stuff and all the downhills, it was definitely faster. The uphills, nope. And the barriers, no. It was hauling the heavy mountain bike over the barriers was a bit of a disaster. So anyway, regardless, I ended up 4th place. I had one of my best weekend results of the year. It was really fun racing because I was battling with 2 guys the whole race for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and I ultimately lost that battle and ended up 4th. So fun stuff.
I mean, maybe this is just a complete different discussion that we can have later, but I kind of feel like the OBRA or the Pacific Northwest cross season is all at the wrong time anyway. We're going to end up with this season done, and you would not have had a wet, sloppy race yet. It's all been dry and dusty. I mean,
I'm fine with that.
Over in Europe, the cross season goes, December through January, February time?
The World Championships aren't till the end of January, the beginning of February.
And we have racing here in September already, which is still summertime, it seems like.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's also going to be added to the Olympics, the Winter Olympics, eventually cyclocross. But because they're putting it in the Winter Olympics, they have to hold it on snow. So it'll be cyclocross on a snowy course.
That's cool.
At some point. So is it really cyclocross? I don't know.
Studded tires, maybe?
Dude, no. You can't do studded tires. You'll kill somebody. Of course, people die anyway. So. Yeah, that wasn't funny.
Would they cut it down to the actual Earth? Or does it?
No.
It has to.
To be a Winter Olympic sport, it has to be on snow or ice.
Well, they've had that one event in Italy, right? The last
Yep.
couple of years.
And it's been
snow
on
cross.
snow. Yep.
Yeah.
So they can do it. It's a test event. It's not a real event, but it will be a test event, I think, at the next Olympics or something. So that's kind of interesting. So that was Saturday, Fernwood Cyclocross. Sunday was, I can't remember where it was. Where was it? I did another cyclocross race. Oh, it was Heiser Farms. Oh my gosh.
Another day, another race.
It's all blurring together.
It's all blurred
I
together.
think I raced. I mean, was it a day that ended in Y? Yeah. I raced.
Right. So Sunday was Heiser Farms out in the Dayton, Oregon area near McMinnville. It is actually one of my favorite courses. It's on a private house. It's a pumpkin patch, and the owners of the pumpkin patch have their own private house. The start line is in their driveway. It's so cool. So it's in their driveway. The course goes through their backyard woods and through their little vineyard that they have. It's a super fun course. There's some single track in there. There's barriers. There's a run up that's really steep. Heiser Farm is always really popular because it's been very cool. It was also very dry. I actually was racing pretty well. I think I ended up 6th. Did I end up 6th? I think I ended up 6th in the 50 field, so not too terrible. I did trip again on the barriers. So
I don't know what are you going to do?
I don't know.
This is not your fault.
It's kind of not my fault.
There's images of that on Instagram right
Yes,
now.
there are, because I completely botched it. It was the very last lap. I wasn't catching 5th place. 7th place wasn't catching me, and so I wasn't taking the last barrier real seriously. And so I came riding into it with my hands off the bars, waving to the crowd and posing for the camera, just being jackhole, just being an absolute jackhole. And so I put my hands on the bars and go to dismount, and I go off the barriers, and I just kicked it. I just turfed it again, drop foot.
I just don't want you to get hurt doing,
Dude,
What was better, that one or your little failed drop jump thing that you did at the Washougal short track thing in practice warm-ups? Which one was worse?
The Washougal one was worse.
Okay, do you get embarrassed when these things happen? Or
No, I just freaking laughed. I mean, I should be embarrassed because it was completely my fault. And I crashed, and it's right in front of 3 team tents. And one of the guys was like, "Oh, dude, are you okay?" And I jumped up and should I finish? Should I finish this race or not? And then I turned around and saw that the guy who was actually catching me was my own teammate, Mike Hamness. Mm-hmm. And I thought, okay, yeah, I have to finish. So I had to jump up and go.
Yep.
The worst part was I landed right on my hand that has the broken
like you do.
bone. Just drilled it into the ground. It hurt pretty bad for a couple days. But anyway, that was that. What was Tuesday night? Trophy Cup, race number 5. I went into this race tied for the lead, but actually really in second place for the whole series because I didn't have a race win and Nick Laritz did have a race win. So I was actually feeling pretty good and fast. It was a nice warm night again. Where did I end up? I was battling for second and third with these 2 guys. I was catching them and pressing really hard on the very last lap, the second to last lap to catch these 2 guys. And I came around a corner, my wheel washed out. I went over the bars. My bike flipped in the air, caught in the tape. I had to rip the bar out of the tape, and I got passed by 3 guys. So I think I ended up 7th, where I was almost gunning for 3rd, and I ended up 7th. So that's it. More crashing, no injuries, just feeling like an idiot. So it was funny. I had just passed a teammate, Mario Fennerly, who is in the 60-plus field, and I had just gone around him, and he's like, "Yeah, let's go." And then I just crashed right in front of him. And he's like, "Dude, I wish I'd had a camera because you somersaulted and flipped in the air." And I'm like, "Yeah."
How many more weeks do you have to go to avoid major injury during race season?
Oh, that's it. This next weekend.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah. Well,
Good.
kind of. I mean, so there's 2 races this weekend. There's the Obra Cross Championships, which are on Saturday at Alderbrook Park. And I really don't have a chance in my field because there's a couple guys I probably can't beat, which is no big deal. And then Sunday is Zalderbrook, which is that's the Harvest Cyclocross Series finale. We'll have a ton of people there. It'll be very fun. Alderbrook is a fantastic venue. It is fun to be out there. It's a great course, one of my favorites of the year. So that should be a lot of fun. And then Tuesday night will be the last Trophy Cup.
So same venue.
Same venue.
Same course?
I believe it's the same exact course.
They're not going to change it up
I
at all?
don't think so.
All right.
I'm not sure, but my guess is no.
Yeah.
They'll just do it.
It's a lot of work. I mean, they could make a couple small alterations if they really wanted to, but why?
They could.
Yeah. Maybe run it in reverse?
Maybe. I don't think so. But different categories for the for the Obra Cross Championships than what we're racing on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
It's 5-year age groups on Saturday, and then 10-year age groups and categories on Sunday. So it's a little bit different. So not a whole lot of people pre-signed up for this either, which is a little bit surprising. So
For the state cup?
yeah.
What about the season finale the next day?
Yeah, there's a lot more people sign up for that.
That's strange.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. Well, cool.
So that's what's happening. Okay, that's enough.
Ian, we're going to go in reverse today. right?
Okay, yeah. I haven't done any cross racing this year.
wrong with
I
you?
don't usually do a lot of it, but I think I managed 3 or 4 races last year. So my season has shut down, and I'm out of the game, and I would say losing motivation. But
Quitting bikes.
Yeah,
Quitting
no.
bikes.
I mean, I'm not training now, but I'm just trying to do what I can out there while the weather's still good, and it's
Perfect time.
gorgeous out there.
Yeah, it's
So
perfect time for that. Like,
Yeah.
go ride for fun.
Exactly what I'm doing,
You know,
yeah,
decompress and like forget about all the
It's just
know.
been perfect out there, and long may it last. So I did a couple of rides in the week, and then I did go out to my usual Salvi shootout, which was small, probably 15, 16 guys. All the guys that are not doing cross, all the guys that did not go on the 140-mile round Mount Hood extravaganza. So it was a good group, though. Teammate and friend Carl Henry was out there.
sweet.
So rode with him for a while. Sat and had coffee in the sun. It was good. Yeah, that's basically been it. Hitting the gym again.
That's good.
Yeah.
Getting your swole on.
You guys are both probably hitting the gym.
Sort of. Yeah, I'm kind of easing my way back into
I
it.
need
But
to ease my way back into it as well.
why don't you backpedal then?
I have not hit the gym yet. I've done some workouts with the cross country team because we do like our core stuff afterwards. Actually, technically, we do go to the gym as well, and I've done a couple things in the gym with the team, but nothing like serious. And the same goes for like cross country. I've done a couple runs, like just while the team's out running, I'll go for a little run, but not much. And then swam a couple times with the master swimming team, which has been good, and rode the e-bike instead of the real bike, and did a grocery run the other day.
How'd that go? How'd that go? Which store did you go
Is
to?
it on Strava?
It's on. I don't know. No, I think I post everything to Strava, but I only make things public occasionally because I'm testing 1,000 different devices, and it's always like there's 30 different posts to Strava, and I don't want that to look like I did 30 different workouts in a day. Anyway, the e-bike is hilarious. These guys actually all rode it after the podcast before last, or maybe it was last podcast. I don't know. But you can like switch its modes, and so I switched it to be like, I call it like rickshaw mode, but it's basically like all these little carrier pieces. It's got like a front little cart thing and a back cart. You guys can see it if you want to after the podcast. It can carry total weight. It can carry something like 440 pounds. Wow, which is
Now, is that including you?
That's including you, but I'm calling kind of BS on that. I don't really believe that. This is claimed weight capacity.
It can hold it. It just can't like move it.
It can't. It can hold it
uphill.
And it's like this is what manufacturers have this thing where they're like, the frame can hold this much weight. Well, I'm like, well, there's other parts of the bike besides the frame. Like, yeah, this piece of steel can hold this much weight. Great. But there's components and all these other things and wheels and tires and things like that. Like, I don't think it can really hold that much weight. Anyway, I went grocery shopping, loaded it up, and I was like, let's just push it. And I was like, I got 3 things of bubbly water, threw it in there in the back, and it was heavy when you're moving it around. But it's fine.
But still made it.
Still made it, no problem. I have to go to the grocery store again, and I was like, Kristen's like, get eggs while you're out there. I'm like, ooh, eggs. That might be like, it might be like half broken when I get back. Because it's a little bumpy, there's a lot of bumps and stuff like that. But, I got like fruit and salad and bubbly water and
Maybe that's
a ton of stuff.
one of the benchmarks you can use when you
It's like,
write your official report.
When you're
on
doing
it,
your
the
review, like
egg,
what can it
egg
handle?
break score.
How many? Out of a dozen eggs, half are still good.
A score out of a dozen. How many eggs?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does have front suspension on it. You guys know this bike. Mm-hmm. I'm really excited about making this review. I'll probably work on that at some point today. So be on the lookout for that on the YouTube channel. Yes. Yep.
Cool.
Backpedal. Over.
Yep. So is mine. Let's move on.
There it is. That fast.
I've ridden on the trainer, and I don't know. It's kind of funny because I don't make those private, or I make those private. I don't make them public, so you don't see them. And I've had a couple people like ask me, "Dude, are you okay?" And then even like I've had people like Paul is like, "Yeah, somebody came in and asked if you're all right. They hadn't seen you anything." I'm like, "Yeah, I've just been on the trainer for a month now, which is terrible because it's so freaking nice out. But I don't have time."
That's true. The weather has been perfect.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
I'll just bug you sometime.
Yeah,
and we'll
as
go.
soon as I'm done with this big project, which I'm pretty much there, I'm kind of going through a transitional
Is
phase
it
right
like
now.
website stuff?
Yeah, I don't even want to get into how much work that was, but
Dialed.com.
Dialedcycling.com. Yeah.
Cycling.com. It
It's-
looks gorgeous.
It's coming around. It was a lot of like database cleaning up kind of stuff. When you switch from one platform to another, like things kind of got a little cattywampus. And anyway, long story short, it's just eating up all my time. So I've been on the trainer. I've just kept them private. And people have been just asking, like, "Are you okay? How come you're not riding?" Well, I'm riding. If you look, you can probably see that I've put in some hours, but it's not what it has been, and it's not as fun. But it's something's better than nothing. So anyway, it's fine. It's all good.
Good.
Moving on. Cool. All right, let's.
Here comes Champ Bailey.
Oh, is Champ Bailey around?
Champ is here.
He's in studio.
Champ's in studio. Here we are.
Nice.
What up, Champ Bailey?
What's up, boys? Hey, we have had the World Championship Road Cycling event this last weekend.
The guy that won, none of us would have guessed.
Nope, nobody guessed it.
Surprise, surprise.
So freaking Tadej Pogačar just he even surprised himself, I guess. So he ended up winning by just over a minute, but he attacked with 100 kilometers to go. 100 kilometers to go. This was a huge race. It was like 270 kilometers or something like that. He wasn't.
What is he on?
I don't
What
know.
is he on? And,
He even
and where do I
said-
get it?
If you watch his post-race interviews, he even said, "That was stupid. It was stupid. I shouldn't have gone that early." But he was just like racing.
Yeah, he's racing.
They did this big long like traverse that ended up into a finishing circuit, but the finishing circuit was like 25K. And they did that like, I don't know what they did it. They did it 6 times. I think they did it 6 times. It's 25K 6 times. And so with there was like a double hill that you kind of knew he was going to attack on, but you kind of figured he'd attack with
last one.
2 laps to go.
Yeah.
And he went with 4. Why did he go with 4? He can't answer that. He doesn't know why he went
Because
with
there was
4.
he felt like there was like a group, there was like a breakaway, and then it wasn't working, and he had to do it. It's like you could just tell.
There was a break up the road.
Yep.
He had a teammate in the break up the road, and he just, I don't know, he felt a lull with everybody, and he just like went, and like Vanderpool and Evenepoel looked at each other and went,
no.
it's 100K. Yeah, that's not going to stay away. There's no way, and they didn't go with him. They didn't even try. They weren't really in position.
they could have. But
They could
didn't.
have,
They
but they
chose not
didn't
to.
even try. They was like, no, I'm not.
That's suicide. Yeah.
Yes. And he held it off. He did fade pretty hard, but
There's some human in there.
there's some human in there.
There's maybe that was fake though. Maybe he was faking like I'm dying. I'm only gonna win by a minute.
So there were 2 things that happened. He finally caught the breakaway that had a teammate. The teammate dropped back from the breakaway to join
Pull him
him, and the teammate, and this was a Slovenian teammate.
Right. I can't remember what his name was. Or is.
Trotnik? Was
Yeah, that sounds right. It's
Was it
something like
Trotnik?
that.
So the teammate
Wasn't a guy I was familiar with.
Yeah, he's not on his trade team, but the teammate dropped back and emptied himself to keep Pogačar away, which was fantastic. And then he caught an Italian, and it was a French rider who's his trade teammate who also helped him. Oh. So he kind of like dug in and helped him too. And anyway, he ended up winning the race. He was super thrilled. It was really exciting. You know, first time they've had the Triple Crown in like 15 years or something like that. It used to be a much bigger deal when the Vuelta was at a different time of the year than it is now. So it's not as big of a deal as it is anymore. Where he won the Vuelta, or was it the Giro?
Giro.
He won the Giro and the Tour and the World Championships.
Which monument was it he won again?
He won.
Was it Flanders? We can look it
I
up.
feel like
but
he's only missing 2 monuments. I feel like I can look this up.
He wants to win Paris-Roubaix, and I think
He was to win San Remo.
and San Remo.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, pretty phenomenal. It was very cool to see. Quinn Simmons mixed it up in there. He was attacking in there. He had this wonderful James Hetfield from Metallica mustache. It made him
That was awesome.
He looked so ridiculous.
Did you find some inspiration there?
I
You're like,
loved
wait
it.
a second. I think I might need to send this down a little bit, thicken it up a little bit.
It was so good. And it was he just like leaned into being like American. It was just pretty funny that he did this, and everybody is like, what is he doing? Who is that? Oh, it's Quinn Simmons. So anyway, that was a lot of fun. Ben O'Connor attacked the chase group with I don't know, a few K to go, and ended up being second. He stayed away. And then Vanderpool and Evenepoel, and there was a few others that were in the third chase group, and Mathieu Vanderpool ended up out sprinting the others just barely, so he took third. So pretty exciting. So that was.
I did not watch any of it. I'm paying for Max, and I've got Peacock, and I didn't see that race until I saw the highlights on YouTube.
Because it was on Flow Sports. And actually, they replayed the entire
Yeah, I
race
saw that.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
But it was like 3 days later. But
Yeah.
they replayed the entire race, which was kind of cool. They did, but they did it live at a weird time.
Right, but who doesn't know the results of the race
No.
3 days after
3 days
the-
later.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
The other thing I saw on YouTube was this interview with Tadej Pogačar. Did you see that with Peter Attia?
I haven't seen it
It's-
yet, but it's been like blowing up on the internet. Like that has been like, I mean, because
Where they were asking him about his zone 2.
Well,
Zone
right.
two.
it goes a long way to explaining how a guy can do a 100-kilometer solo breakaway from the best riders in the world. I mean, I don't know if he pissed off his team management or whatever,
Right.
because he actually revealed his power numbers, which
he's
is
like
extraordinary.
Yeah, he's
right?
like, "What's your zone 2?" And he's like, I can hold on a bad day, his heart rate doesn't get up. He's like, my heart rate will be like 140, and on a good day, my heart rate may be like 150, 155 in zone 2. And he's like, and what kind of watts are you holding for that? And he's like, somewhere like 315 to 340
in zone 2.
in zone 2.
And so too.
So conversational pace.
So that's the all day pace.
He said 5 hours. He can.
Oh, yeah, 5
He can hold
hours.
that for 5 hours. After that time, it's no longer zone 2. But still,
5 hours.
That's conversational
Hours
pace,
at 320
At
in
320.
conversational pace. Oh my gosh.
I'm very similar, just like very close.
I can hold 320 for 10 minutes.
We're very close.
And I'm
We're very
not
sim-
talking to anybody.
But it's not
We're
like
very similar.
It's not like revealing those power numbers, does anything. Like the other teams aren't going to say, "Oh, okay, now we know how to beat him. We just have to
No.
hold 360
It sounds easy enough.
for 5 hours."
right.
It's
Yeah, that was a pretty nice reveal.
anyway. Great interview.
Peter
It's
Tia
crazy.
is mostly known for his medical podcast, and he definitely talks. He's kind of guru-ish status. Not to throw him under the bus, but he tends to preach a lot of longevity stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I do like his stuff. I think he is very well spoken, and he's very well researched, and he does a good job with his podcast.
He's
but
also
yeah.
had Pogačar's coach on there
Yes.
several times, and so he's become this sort of zone 2
Yep.
training.
He's a former triathlete, and he has a little bit more of a swimming background, but did a lot of cycling, like a big block of cycling for a long time. So Peter Tia has like a good bit of cycling knowledge. So when he hears something like, 350 for 5 hours, that's gonna his eyebrows are gonna raise as well doing the interview. Don't be suspicious.
As the rest of the world raised their eyebrows, like, what the hell? What? I think I wet myself a little bit when I heard that. I was just like, oh my gosh. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised with these pros and their numbers, but people
that
just don't
seems
share them
crazy.
usually, So to hear him say, I can ride at 320 for 5 hours.
I guess you're
just
right.
was like,
I need to like translate it to running talk, where it's like, I can hold 545 pace for 3 hours. Like
Also, he said at
for
his
me, that's like, of course, that's normal. But like these guys holding that much wattage,
right.
And he
for
said he
5 hours.
weighed in the off season at his heaviest. He sometimes saw 69 kilograms in his weight.
Oh, wow.
So he's
What is-
more like 65 in racing season. So 65.
What's that translate
at
to?
340 watts. I don't know. That's a lot of watts per kilo anyway.
What's that?
It's
What is
crazy.
the 65, 69 kilos translate to in pounds?
143 pounds,
Thank you.
65. Yep.
Jeez.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not insanely light.
It's not insanely light. I think there
I
was
wonder
another
how tall he is.
There's another story that said one of the chasers, I can't remember who it was, but they held like 7.2 watts per kilogram for 8 minutes and still couldn't catch Pogačar. He
I wonder what his
still
numbers-
lost ground to him.
I wonder what his numbers were like during that.
7 watts per kilo for 8 minutes and still. Anyway,
It's bizarre, isn't it?
it's just amazing. It's really amazing. When he's healthy, I mean,
When he's healthy, he's unbeatable.
yeah, pretty amazing.
Which gets to my question.
We're not there yet.
Okay.
So
Could be one of my
hold
questions.
that thought, Mr. Legrand. The women's world championship race, also very exciting. Also so close for an
Really?
American. So Lotte Kopecky from Belgium ended up winning in a sprint, and Chloe Dygert just missing out in second place. So gets the silver medal. So pretty amazing race for the American. First time in like 10 or 12 years that a Dutch rider did not end up on the podium. So the Dutch riders were kind of fighting themselves and kind of blew it, and they got divided and conquered and ended up like 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Wow.
So off the podium for the first time in a long time. So the women's race is pretty exciting as well. So
Whoops.
yeah, kind of crazy. What else has happened? The Rad Dirt Fest, the 5th race in the Lifetime Grand Prix Fitness series that happened in Trinidad, Colorado. Keegan Swenson, who hasn't done this race before because he hasn't needed to, he showed up and ended up winning. Did not run away with it, but still ended up winning. And I believe Lauren DiCrescenzo won the women's race. So that's what's happening.
Is it safe to assume that Keegan's not going to the Gravel World Championships this coming weekend?
He's not.
Okay. Do we know what Americans will be there?
John Borstelman will be there. Brennan Wirtz. Yeah, Brennan Wirtz will be there. There's 4 or 5 Americans that are going to be there.
And friend and fellow WSBA and Obra 60 plus Masters guy Mark Littrell will be there. Who's
Wow.
Seriously?
Yep.
That's cool.
Yep.
Wow, he's going over to do
Is
it.
there
so.
any chance that somebody not named Matthew Vanderpool is going to win that race?
Dude, he's lining up.
He's got the fitness right now, too.
He certainly does. So pretty crazy that he is lining up and doing that. But I mean, wasn't Wout in it last year and was off the podium after a flat where you have to kind of
That's true.
fend for yourself? There aren't team cars in this race, so so a lot. You have to have a little bit of luck, and
True.
yeah. But Vanderpool did say that he's showing up, but. So are like Mohoric, who won it last year, and there's going to be some big names in there. So
Where you
that
putting your money? If you had to bet.
Vanderpool.
Yep.
I mean, it's a gravel race. It's off road. He's 4-time cyclocross world champion, and
Yeah, Mark was saying the course is like there's a lot of pavement, like going through city centers, a lot of road furniture, a lot of dirt, sort of cart tracks, cobbled sections. I don't know. It's a different game than the traditional gravel racing over here. It seems like parkour is different.
it is different.
Yeah.
So
Do you like that? Do you like the fact that it's different or it throws a different dynamics in there? Or is that not true gravel?
no, I mean, what's true gravel? It's just off road.
Yeah.
The off roads are different in Europe, and this is in Flanders. It's in the Flanders area.
Yeah.
So it's in Belgium, and so I mean, those gravel roads are just different than we have in the U.S. And gravel racing was kind of born or kind of exploded in the U.S., even though they were still doing it in Europe, and in the rest of the third world countries of the world, whenever they're racing. But I think it's great that they're having it.
Hey, hold on a second. We've got somebody. Hold on. Look at the phone is actually ringing too. But I'm getting a message here. 1 second.
Oh, God,
It's
here
Matt.
it
Matt.
comes.
It's Matt.
Oh, hot, 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 hot.
Oh, yeah.
Matt's calling us from the bathroom.
Hot, 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 hot.
I feel it.
Ah!
You okay, Matt?
Feels hot.
Yeah.
Feels warm around here.
Yeah. We're going to do the hot seat.
Hot seat.
Yeah. Champ, you done?
Who's Champ? Champ is gone.
Oh, we already left. I didn't get the
Champ
champ
left
out.
the chat.
All right. Hot seat, boys. Hot seat. Who would like to go first?
Dibs.
Matt's going first.
All right. I got 2 questions, but I think I'm only allowed 1. So
You can ask 2 if you want.
yeah, you know how it goes. We'll see. All right. So Champ is gone. It's sad to see him go. But what I wanted to ask him was, Tadej, is he the best? Is he the greatest of all time? Is he the GOAT of cycling? He has now done this trifecta in a single season. He has Milan-San Remo, and he has Vuelta a España, and he has Paris-Roubaix. He has 3 races left. He wins those 3 in the next, which he could do next year theoretically. He wins that, then he can start up a different sport. He's thinking about triathlon. So that he'll be finished with cycling, right? So you're done with cycling. I won cycling. Now I try and pick something else up, like boxing or something. Who knows?
The idea of him being the greatest of all time cyclist was kind of endorsed by Eddy Merckx himself this week.
Well, I was going to
apparently.
mention that, except for the opposite, because I think Eddy Merckx said in that quote, he's not quite as good yet. Like,
So-
he's not quite there yet.
There was 2 separate interviews with Merckx.
Okay.
He first came out and said, yes, Tadej has surpassed me. He is above my level, is what he said.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing he said, was that, yes, he's better than me. And then the very next day, he backtracked.
Sounds possible.
The very next day, he backtracked and said, I've still won more Tour de France's than him, so he's still not up to me.
Yeah.
So it was something. Yeah, I'm paraphrasing, of course, but so
It's a very weird thing to say in general.
yeah.
Well, if he's not yet, I think he will at some point. If he will equal it, Merckx's Tour de France record, I'm sure.
So is the consensus
He's he's 26, I think, right
something
now.
like that?
he's
Yeah.
26
Is the
or
consensus
27.
that Eddy Merckx is the greatest of all time?
I think so.
Yes.
Kind of have to say that, right? I mean,
Lance Armstrong. Where's Evan Price?
Well, it's hard in his day. I mean, the whole sport has changed so much.
Yeah, that's a
if
huge
you,
thing
If
to
you
consider.
put 1970 Eddy Merckx in the 2024 Tour de France, he wouldn't.
He would be.
He would be at the back. He'd be mid pack.
I agree with
say.
you. I agree with that. Actually, well, I don't know about that. I think
think
he was
that-
quite good with similar training and similar people and things like that. I think he could be like a guy that could win stages.
well, so let's just
Something
say
like
that
that.
he was born at the same time as Pogačar, and he came up just like Pogačar did, and then they both had the advantage of having the same equipment, the same training, the same nutrition, all of that fun stuff.
Hypothetical.
How do you measure the two? I mean, are we talking about 2 totally different athletes, and Tadej's just that much better? Or?
These days, you could measure their VO2 max and threshold and everything in a lab and see who's physically stronger, but that doesn't take into account their tactics and race prowess and,
That's true.
Who's
and
more
the
aggressive?
team they're with. And
Dude, you give the edge to Merckx for being aggressive.
The cannibal, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, I think body type wise, like he was lean back in the day, but he was never like Tadej lean, right? Like if there were,
but he won sprints and he won mountain stages
won
and he
everything.
won time trials and he won one-day races and he won Grand Tours.
But there's just no way that he would have won a 200 plus mile world championship race like this one that we just watched.
Yeah.
Like there's just no way.
And he wouldn't have won.
And he wouldn't have won the
Tour de
Tour.
France if he was up against Vingegaard or
Yeah.
Van Aert or those people. So anyway,
Most likely
kind of
that was
academic,
also
but
true.
It's
Yeah.
definitely up for argument, which is why it's the hot seat question. Like, so let's go around, yay or nay, greatest of all time, or you can say not yet. You know, like you can do a Merck,
Not yet, but
not yet,
but will be.
not yet, but will be.
No, it's still Merckx.
I'm gonna have to agree with the boys. He's right there. He's knocking on the door. Give him another year or two, and I think it's going to be a resounding yes. He's the greatest of all time.
Okay.
I think by his age now, he's won more than Merckx did by 26, right?
I'd have to go look at the stats on that, but it was pretty amazing if you go back and look what Merckx accomplished, in his time. But
You know what I love is that Merckx watched this race and right after the race says, yes, he's better than me. He watched with a drop jaw, just like we did when he attacked with 100 kilometers to go and held it. And then he sleeps on it and goes, wait a minute. I'm freaking the cannibal.
I was pretty good.
I'm pretty good.
I think that
he's not me yet.
The correct PR thing would have been like, oh yeah, he's wonderful. Is he better than you? That's for the historians to decide.
Yeah.
You got to be a little more PC than like, he's not quite as good as me yet. Like,
I don't know. I don't know. Was it arrogant? I didn't hear his like follow up to that.
We don't know.
Would you say that was arrogant, or would you say that that's like, oh, wait a second, maybe just put a little bit more thought to that? But I mean, I kind of like the fact.
to it.
I like the fact that he's kind of speaking without a filter. I mean,
I think that's great and all, but like, the reason people go through these like PR coaching things is because you don't want to sound like a-hole.
Yeah.
You don't want to sound like Sir
I get that.
Cavendish.
I mean, you can say you can say it in certain ways that maybe it's unfiltered, but it's not the stereotypical PC.
But here's the thing: is like you can say it certain ways, and then with certain inflections and tones and things like that, and even jokingly or whatever. And then as soon as it's reprinted, you lose all that context, and that reprint is what 100,000 people see on all the cycling news websites and things like that, and you're like, oh, this guy's an a-hole.
You've got a good point, but I don't know.
The PR training is there for a reason, and it's clear that Merckx didn't receive it.
He's not the judge and the jury here anyway.
No,
I mean,
we are.
Exactly.
We are.
People are going to tell you how it is anyway. So
podcast.
yeah,
Absolutely.
So yeah, maybe just concede. Just say he's pretty stinking great. Yeah.
Here's part of his quote. The first quote he says is, "It's obvious that he is now above me." And then he said, this is Eddy Merckx saying this. And then he said, oh, dude, find it fast.
It's okay.
Obviously, you can never compare eras, but this is an incredible rider, Merckx said. I did an attack with 100 kilometers to go in a world championship, but what he has done is unimaginable. It's something we'll remember for a very long time.
Until the next drug comes along.
Until he slept on it and then changed his mind.
Yeah.
Did you have a second question, Matt, that you want to throw out there real quick?
But let's skip it. Let's move on.
You sure?
I mean, we'll look and see if we're killed for time and we need something else. Sure.
All right. Mr. Ian Gibson, do you have something that is hot for us?
Yeah, well, I don't know how hot it is. I'm shifting gears completely to
Good.
as amateur sort of weekend warrior competitive cyclist. Now is a sort of a transition season, right? Unless there's still a couple of races left, but for a lot of people, it's done now until next season.
Lance is transitioning from like 7 races per week to 14.
I think I have 10 more races to go before this
Anyway,
season's
my question to you guys, the three of you, is what are you going to do for this transition? Are you planning on taking any time completely off the bike, or any time completely
There's a
out
great
of
question for me.
training, or are you just going to push through? How do you approach this time of the year?
Sounds hot. It's a great question for me, considering I haven't been biking. Do I take more time off of biking? For me, it's like get the indoor setup. Does that make sense? Setup.
Yep.
If they're a double setup there, get the indoor setup. So that, if you're doing morning rides on trainer, you can go out there and just flop on the bike and get some stuff done. Or if you're in a rush to get back from cross country practice because the, group training stuff starts at 6 o'clock or whatever time the group stuff starts, that you can kind of join that group. So those things I think are fun, and it kind of just, I don't necessarily think that you need a huge block off, like a time off the bike if you're having fun on the bike.
Right.
Yeah.
That being said, I encourage all of my runners to take somewhere between 1 week and 2 weeks off of running after their cross-country season is over. Some of the runners that really train a lot, I might actually like assign a specific workout, and the workouts are hilarious. They're like, go fish with your brother, go ride mountain bikes with your mom, go for a run with your dad, who I know will run like 9 or no, more like 10 or 11 minute pace.
Yeah.
Like they're not off, but they have like an assignment to do, and then they can kind of ease back into their training. So I think there's fun things that you can do besides have a week off, a block off where there's nothing on the calendar, because I think that could drive people crazy.
Yeah.
I guess I've kind of already taken my block off this past month.
Yeah.
I really kind of transitioned out of my soul crushing, killer crazy 3 months of riding bikes, kind of.
Plus, don't you guys have training camp to train for?
Yeah.
So that's important. So it's a highlight of the season.
Yeah,
That's not till February, though.
I kind of knew
start training
that
now.
September was going to be a kind of an off month for me, just based on like the schedules of everything in life. And in short, I just really backed off on everything and have been riding on the trainer. So I've got the trainer set up and I've kind of acclimated to getting back onto that. And I was kind of a little bit nervous about that with how my body would respond, but it's, for all intents and purposes, has been pretty decent. So yeah, it's just now the beginning of October, and I'm going to be kicking on the whole, like, let's get back into the strength training and let's start making some time to, actually go outside and ride and start to increase the volume back again and just kind of have a really good, solid off season. Yeah.
You have like a room pretty much dedicated to
I do.
the indoor bike training?
Yep.
You guys think you'll ever move those bikes and have another exchange student or anything like that?
Nope.
No.
Nope. They can go sleep. Well, we've got a kid that's gone now, so I've got an extra bedroom upstairs.
Still a bedroom, okay.
So we do have a guest room, if you want to call it that. So
Would you guys ever do another exchange student?
yeah, at some point in time, not right
Just
now. Yeah,
when,
we're just-
when the time calls.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's good.
What about you, Hepler?
I don't think I will take a block off, to be
right.
honest with you.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting because all my racing at the moment is super high intensity, right? They're 45 minutes, like full gas, max heart rate for 40 of those 45 minutes. So I'm going really hard. So to transition out of those races, and I have 5 more races that I'm really gearing towards, that I'm trying to finish up. And then after that, I may do a few more races, but purely for fun.
You're the one person I think should second guess that decision.
I know I probably should, but hear me out, because I'm doing all this high intensity racing at the moment. I'm still doing a set of intervals in between those to
Right.
try to keep sharp for these races. But for me to transition from that high intensity stuff to just riding zone 2 or sweet spot work will be a lovely transition for me.
And that's exactly what I was thinking. Like for you, more like what I do with my cross country athletes, where it's like, here's your assignment. Go take the coolest photo that you can on a bike ride.
Yeah.
Day 2, go try and catch a KOM. Day number 3, like try to ride a bike that you haven't ridden in 5 years or whatever. Like, silly kind of fun goals. And like 1 week of that, and you're going to feel refreshed and back able to do the grueling stuff.
Yes.
Which was my other hot seat question, was just like, what's a good indoor workout? What, the stuff that's not great, it's not super fun. Like you did a lot of this stuff where you would do, I think you did some like big days on the trainer, and you would, I think 100 miles on the trainer where you were like watching.
Correct.
Whatever. Was that
But that's November, December work.
I think
for me.
that idea of refresh is important, right? So,
Yep.
if you're like us and you're a 8, 10, 12-hour a week cyclist, maybe a little more, you're not doing yourself harm by carrying on riding.
Yeah.
Mentally, however, I feel like you need to
a little reset?
at some point reset your motivation at least.
Yeah.
And for me, at least, I need to have a point where I'm saying I'm beginning my campaign now for next year. This is my training block. My base season begins, let's say, November 1st.
Yeah.
And so, there is this transition time where I'm still going to ride if the sun's out and it's beautiful out there
Right.
to ride, or I've got friends to ride. I still want to do my weekly intensity out at Salvie Island or wherever, but I'm not taking it seriously at the moment. But at some point, it'll be right. The pre-season or the base season starts now on this date. Full focus.
Putting that on a calendar, like a
Yeah.
date on a calendar, is a good idea.
My base season won't start till I'm done racing, and I'm not sure how late I'm gonna race.
Right.
That's
but
the thing.
Immediately after you're done racing? Or?
No,
Right.
no, it won't.
So, a little transition.
There'll be a little transition, but it'll be a week probably at the most for me.
Yeah.
Well,
Just
you gotta
because
get ready for training camp.
Yeah.
And you got to get
Well-
ready for the next trip.
And I'm
Whatever
not
the next
feeling like this, like crushing fatigue at the moment, because my weekly hours have dropped so much since cross season started, because I'm not doing like more than 2-hour rides. And so you don't do a 4-hour ride on the weekends because I'm embracing both days.
Yeah. What's nice about triathlon is you have a very clear season in the summertime, and then it is a huge block of time off.
Yeah.
And there's tons of other things you can do. You can work on your swim sets. You can work on like cycling volume. You can just put a lot of different things into the off season. But for you, you have this weird like summer racing,
Just
fall
call it,
racing.
Matt. People aren't an idiot like me normally.
Those are your words.
That's
There's a
words.
bold statement. It's so bold you like knocked over the water over here.
The water.
No, I mean I think that this is what you do. This is what you like to do.
Yeah.
And it would drive you crazy to be like, I'm not going to do anything today. I'm not going to bike today. That would drive you crazy.
A little bit. I really have to be feeling it to just not do it.
Yeah.
Like today, I'm pretty busy, and I already rode this morning.
Yeah.
Because
Did you go out on the...
I went outside.
Was it cold?
It was a little chilly, but it was gorgeous.
It was gorgeous.
And of course, with my fitness right now, I can't help but chase some KOMs, which is stupid, but I still chase some KOMs.
Did you have fun?
Yeah, I had a great time.
Did you go by yourself? Just by yourself,
Just
right?
by myself.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you take it too far the other way, it's a bad thing as well. If you say I'm going to take 2 months off and not ride at all,
Yeah.
Then you end up like
you,
someone...
you've got more work to do basically.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, so I don't know. It depends how competitive you are and,
think a
and how
week
big your goals are for next year. And
1 to 2 weeks is like I think the sweet spot.
Sweet spot, yeah.
I think there's another thing too. Like there are a lot of people that like push through a season and they've got injuries that they're pushing through, whether it's like hip pain or knee pain or whatever it is. That's the kind of stuff where having some recovery time really helps. And one of the things I do with my athletes is like, okay, they're like, okay, end of the season, like what's my block of time before we start training again look like? And we kind of talk to them like, are you hurting? Because then you take a little bit more time off versus like, no, I feel 100%. Then we can take less time off and you can kind of like play around with running a little bit. Like go find a new trail, go do this, like fun stuff. Whereas when they're like, oh no, my hip's been hurting and my season's over. It's like, no, just take a full 2 weeks and get completely healthy and then kind of ease back into it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tricky.
It's tricky.
a good question. That's a good hot seat question. Good hot seat question.
yeah. All right.
Lance?
My hot seat question.
Yeah, make it hot, dude.
Should Mathieu van der Poel have been disqualified from the World Championships for his sidewalk hopping adventure?
Lance just burned all his matches.
Lance has burned all of that.
Thank you,
That was
Dylan.
so hot.
I love Dylan. He is so good. He's been posting some good stuff on YouTube. If you guys haven't,
Yep.
Yeah, I featured half naked in his recent
Yes.
YouTube
I
video. Go
commented on
check it out.
Quatface2, Quatface2 on YouTube.com.
Did you see this thing that Van der Poel did?
And no, I just read about it somewhere. But I say no.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
I think no, because here's the thing.
So here's what happened with Van der Poel. So he's in a group with his people. He's got Evan Poole and who else is in there? Ben O'Connor and there's just a bunch of hitters in this group. He sees an opportunity to somebody attacked the group and nobody was chasing it down, and so he jumped to close the gap, but he went up on the sidewalk to do it. Past 2 spectators, hopped right off the sidewalk and closed down the attack, right?
Awesome bike handling skills.
He actually
first
made
of all.
it look very smooth and very clean, and it didn't look like anybody was in danger, but he went on the sidewalk where spectators were standing.
Is there a UCI rule that defines what is the race course and what is not? If there's no barriers there, so is the sidewalk considered
Fair game.
off limits? Or
I think it is
it's kind of like the
considered off limits.
center line rule we race by here on open roads, right? But there's always it's always given as a big no-no not to cross the center line,
But still
for obvious
happens
reasons.
a little bit on certain corners in certain areas. It still happens, right? And not everybody gets disqualified for it, or the whole field
I
gets
may
warned.
have been guilty myself. In
I think all of us-
Mason Lake. Oops.
Right.
We do this beaches ride, and I've done this exact same tactic on purpose to be able to I'm gonna go use the sidewalk because no one's gonna get on my wheel. It's hilarious. It's such a weird thing to do that you're like, this is hilarious. I've got to do it because it's funny.
Yes.
So here's my defense on why he should not be disqualified. 10 years ago, if this happened, we would all just be like, yeah, of course. Like you get around however you want to get around, and that's how you win races. Like people jump on sidewalks all the time. They've gotten a lot more strict in the past 10 years about jumping over curbs and moving through traffic areas and things like that. They've gotten extremely strict on it because they have had so many accidents. But like the classic thing is like, this is how racing happens. And I feel like we should kind of lean on our history a little bit. Like, would Merckx have gotten disqualified for doing this?
Okay,
Hell no.
I think you cannot use the argument that, hey, the spectators are on the sidewalk, so it's obviously not. It's obviously there not to be. It's obviously not there to be ridden on because there's spectators there. I mean, look
Spectators
at
are all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, look at climbing up the Alpe d'Huez. The spectators all over the road, but they don't. You still race over it.
Well, so the controversy comes because both Luke Rowe and Marlon Reusser were disqualified from races for doing similar things. So Marlon Reusser, I remember, he was the guy in one of the classics that went way left through the grass, and then the grass like ended, and so he cut back into the field, and like 40 people crashed behind him.
Yeah.
So you remember that happened like early in the year, or was it last year?
There's a difference between causing an accident, and
Vanderpool didn't cause an accident.
Did he look like he could have caused an accident though? Was that?
No, dude. He just like smoked it smooth. He looked so clean. He looked so clean.
If it wasn't a sketchy move and it wasn't against the rules, then I say no.
A couple spectators like jumped back, but he just, oh my gosh, dude. There was like a little ramp up on the sidewalk, and he took that and then just launched off the sidewalk back onto the road, and
it looked badass.
It looked badass. It really
Which
did.
is exactly why he should not be disqualified.
He should get points bonus.
Points for badass. Now, I bet you if we went back and we had some sort of magical tape of the entire race and the entire field, and we said anyone that didn't stay on the exact prescribed course
gets DQ'd.
He would get DQ'd, but I bet you about a dozen other cyclists that were jumping things and moving around to get around all kinds of stuff, or the traffic splits and someone goes the wrong way and they hop something. I bet you there would be a ton of people DQ'd, and that's like every race in professional cycling.
Or, okay, was Vanderpool not DQ'd or fined because he's Vanderpool, and Luke Rowe is not Vanderpool, and so he gets DQ'd from the race, and Vanderpool doesn't.
I think the difference there lies in like, was this a sketchy situation that caused 40 cyclists to go down?
Nobody went down.
And if 40 cyclists go down, you bet your ass you're going to be in trouble.
But that's why you have the rule there in the first place, to prevent accidents.
Okay.
So now Vanderpool gets away with it.
Let me renege on my answer a little bit and say the rules are the rules, and it's up to the judge to make the call.
That's not what you just said.
Well, wait. That's what I'm saying. I'm reneging. The rules are the rules, and it's up to the judge to make the call, right? Because that's what, like, they have these judges, and the judge makes the call against, like, did this person officially violate this rule? We have these rules. The judge made the call. He doesn't get disqualified. He's clear. He's good. In another case, when someone did something similar, but it was a lot more dangerous, that person gets disqualified, and it's up to the judge.
In your defense, Marlon Reusser, when he jumped back on and caused this big crash, he was disqualified, but not for a month. They took a month, and then they suspended him for 30 days. They still suspended him, but it wasn't till later, and he was like, "Dude, I screwed up. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done what I did."
But that's racing. It's just like there's a lot of sketchy shit that happens out there.
Yeah,
it's not. I mean, I think a lot of us are looking at this because it's MVP, and if it was someone in the back of the field that did the exact same thing, no one would care.
Also, MVP is one of the reasons why cycling is popular, and he brings sponsorships and money to the sport. So does he get forgiven?
Let's give him fair.
Does he get forgiven because he's Vanderpool?
Is he allowed to wear a Red Bull, whatever, wherever he wants?
He does not have a Red Bull contract, but he could if he wanted to.
It's Van Aert that's like, I wear this and I get whatever the fee. Remember that thing where he used to get fined after every
Red Bull would just pay the fine for him.
Red
Bull pays the fine for him.
Great
Every
marketing
time he races in the Red Bull helmet. But now the whole Bora Hansgrove Red Bull team are all wearing the helmet.
Do they get fined, I wonder?
No, because it's the team helmet.
Issue, Doesn't matter
it's team
anymore.
issue.
Those are good times back in the day. So, good job, Red Bull.
All right, that's my question.
Good.
Jake.
You got an answer?
Oh, yeah, he's fine. He's good. I don't have any
All
issues
good.
with it. Yeah, I mean, nobody got hurt. It's all good.
Yeah.
Nah.
No harm, no foul.
No harm, no foul. Yep. You guys ready for mine?
Yes.
Got a question for you, boys. It's a hot seat. How well do you know your British slang?
I'm an expert. I was born in Alabama.
We have an
which is-
official moderator
Same
here.
thing.
So
Actually, I wasn't born in Alabama, but yeah.
I know that this is not cycling related, but we're
It's
going to make it cycling related.
100% cycling.
So
related.
I'm
Let's
going
hear
to
it.
throw some terms at you guys, and I want Matt and Lance to answer to let us know if they know what the meaning is. Ian gets to say whether or not they're correct or not, and then it needs to be used in a cycling related sentence.
Well, hold on a minute.
Hold on.
Okay, I'll do my best, but I haven't lived in the UK since I was
Don't give us
19
that excuse.
years old.
Here's what we're going to do then. We're going to recertify you
Okay.
as Sir Ian Gibson,
Officially.
British slang expert, certified.
Okay. Let's see how
what we
this
can
works
do.
out.
All right. So I've got a whole bunch of them here. I've got some that I've highlighted.
Just do 3 or something. Just pick a couple.
We'll get through a few of them. All right. The first one, cock up.
Okay, I got that one.
Cock up.
Yeah.
Use it in a sentence, please.
Okay. When you're snorting cocaine and you've left a little bit of powder on your mustache, your British friend could say, "Hey, your face looks like a cock up."
Okay.
Did I use that correctly?
I've got one.
Okay.
Sometimes I wake up in the morning.
Oh, no. All right. Lance is
I
done.
see where this is going.
Ian,
I can't
do you
finish.
have a definition for...
Cock up is a verb, to cock up, to
Does it mean
Screw
to
up.
screw up?
Screw up. That's
Yeah.
exactly what
We
they
both
have
nailed
here.
it.
So
We both nailed it.
good. All right. So
I
wish
cock up, you cock up, they cocked up, we are cocking up.
I just cocked up.
There's some terms that just, I wish that they were part of our everyday vernacular here. So I'm going to work on trying to integrate this into our podcast, and hopefully it'll kind of like just make its way out there and become.
Is
Have
this
you
a
got-
British podcast?
Have you got rule
Sure.
number 5 in there? Is that
No.
cock up? Is that?
Oh, jeez. You guys are making me do all kinds of editing today, aren't you?
HTFU.
Oh, jeez. All right. So the next one is going to be lost the plot.
You lost the plot.
Lost the plot.
It means that you have missed the reason for the.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh,
Totally.
Okay.
Lance was right. You're wrong.
yeah.
What is it?
It's a British slang for hot dog water.
Hot dog. Oh, use that in a sentence, please.
I was cooking this ramen noodles, but I was out of water, so I used.
You lost the plot.
So I lost the plot. So I used lost the plot. Did I get it right?
Ian, did they get it right?
You're going to be disappointed with me on this one, but let me try this. Okay, so we all decided that we were going to take it to a sprint finish, but he went off the front in a solo breakaway and had completely lost the plot.
Like went against the plan, kind of
Against the plan.
thing. Okay.
Close, but you could use it sort of. Gone crazy. You've gone
Yeah.
crazy.
Gone
So
crazy.
He went
both nailed that
crazy.
one. We're two. Lance and I were 2 for 2.
Okay, see?
And
I'm
there's
only pretend British.
here's a good synonym for that too. Nutter.
Yeah.
Nutter. Nutter.
Nutter. That's
Yep.
another name
For just
crazy
another way of saying gone crazy.
or lost the plot.
Tadej is a nutter. He's a crazy person. So, yeah, it's more of a noun, but yeah, you could go both ways on that. The next one, and well, actually, we're going to jump into the canine world here in terms of like just the term itself. Dog's bollocks. Dog's bollocks.
This is a favorite of mine.
Dog's bollocks. It means.
Is this another term for an iPad Pro?
An iPad Pro.
Yeah, I think so.
Also called the dog's bollocks.
Dog's bollocks.
I think you nailed it.
Did I get it? Did you get that one right?
What is it, Ian?
Ian, what is it?
Are you not going to guess, Lance?
No, because I have no idea.
It could be. If you consider the iPad Pro really good, like a great piece of cake.
Really?
then
This is
it's-
a good thing?
It's a good thing. This
That's
is the
the
dog's,
dog's
bollocks.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh.
not to be confused
idea.
with bollocks, which means it's generally a bad thing, Or more precisely, a bunch of bollocks.
So a bunch of bollocks is bad.
Bad.
Dog's bollocks
So
is no cat.
I'm going to
Yeah.
create more work for myself. It's like saying that's the
Poo-poo.
versus that's
Poo-poo.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's the dog's bollocks.
Except more eloquently, I would argue.
Okay. So sticking with the dog theme, dog's dinner. Dog's dinner.
Dog's dinner.
Yep. What would you guys think?
I'm going to
Using-
guess on this as well.
You want to use it in a sentence then? Go.
No, wait. Somebody else go.
The dog's dinner. That's when you are sharing your charisma on somebody else. It's the Riz. It's the Riz.
I like how you're defining these weird catchphrases with weird new like millennial catchphrases.
That's right, millennial.
This is not millennial. It's
Look
like
at that Riz.
Alpha and Gen Z
It's
stuff
the
right there.
dog's
Gen Z.
dinner.
Yeah.
The dog's dinner.
Dog's dinner.
I'm gonna say it means like crap. Like this is the dog's dinner. Like
You're pretty close. Yeah. It's I guess the proper way to describe it or analyze would
It's
be
a complete mess.
a mess. Exactly. So that's a good one.
Ian, you did know.
The next one, plonker. Plonker. Plonker.
plonker.
Plunker.
That's when your
You
electric
guys
bike
want
doesn't work
you guys want
correctly.
a tip here? I mean,
I think that's when your electric bike doesn't work correctly.
you could call it a plonker.
plunker?
No, it's just
Maybe.
that is the definition.
It's like when you hit the jackpot. Like
Plonker.
you're dropping,
Isn't it? Is Plonker one of the games that you play when you're playing Jack, like some sort of gambling game?
You're dropping something
Drop a
in
ball
it.
in
It
there.
makes the plonking sound.
I'll use it in a sentence for you guys. Jake is a plonker for bringing this little bit to the Dialed podcast, and Ian can probably
Yeah.
agree with that. I'm an idiot.
Idiot.
See also
totally wrong.
wanker,
Wanker.
plonker,
Plonker.
tosser, knobhead.
Starkers.
British seem to have a lot of terms for the
What's
same
up?
thing.
The next word is starkers. Starkers. Starkers.
Starkers.
Lance was Starkers last week.
Yeah, when you're naked.
Yes.
Yes, I nailed
No
it.
way.
Stark naked.
Stark
You're
naked.
Starkers.
Yep. I was wondering if you would get that.
Yeah, you could also use it as
Last
as
week,
short
this
for
morning.
stark raving mad.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Completely. Yeah, I guess.
Starkers.
Starkers, yeah.
Oh,
Naked.
to go back to the plonker one, tosser.
Tosser.
Uh-huh. I don't know if you already said that. A wanker. What else is there? Oh, a draft cow.
Draft.
Draft cow.
Do you know that one?
No,
Is
I don't know that one.
literally draft cow. If you're an idiot, if you want to call somebody an
You're a
idiot,
draft cow.
You're a draft cow. So
I feel like I like that one. I feel like that needs to be used in triathlon racing.
maybe Lance needs to start adopting some of these for his, I don't know, next month of Strava posts. Like he can
A lot
do
of these
definitions.
sayings are regional as well. Like some parts of the country would you say tosser?
And somebody else would say,
I would say what a git. That's another one that we would say from the Midlands where I'm from.
A git, huh?
Git.
Interesting. Here's another one. Lance can use this in a sentence for us. Arse over tit.
Oh,
arse over tit. It's
That's
when
easy.
it's when you're pressing to catch second and third place and your wheel washes out arse over tit.
yep. I agree.
You go, awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've heard arse over tea kettle, but never arse over tit. Crazy. To fall over, to crash, to go down, any of those things.
I've done that plenty this week.
Here's another one. Bog roll. What is a bog roll?
Bog roll.
Yeah, noun.
This is the definition of the little piece of plastic at the end of your shoelace.
That's
It's
a
a fact.
Iglet or something like that?
Siglet.
It's an eyelet.
Is it, no, it's an iglet, I think.
Is it iglet?
I think the eyelet is what it goes into.
Oh, maybe you're right.
And I think
Iglet
it's
goes through the eyelet.
yeah, I think so.
Okay, that sounds great.
Double check that. But
Bog
yeah.
roll. That's the term for a poorly made piece of sushi. That's what I think.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a bog roll.
Ian,
Nailed
do you
it.
know the answer to this one?
Yes, it's toilet paper.
Not even close.
From the euphemism for toilet being bog.
The bog.
The bog, the kazi,
We
the
were
loo,
we
the
were there.
shitter.
We had it.
there.
We had it.
Did you guys go bog rolling when you were a young
No,
man?
it wasn't a thing when I was growing up. But
You guys didn't do the toilet papering thing?
No.
No? Yeah, we did. Way too often.
I ran from the cops one night from it. That's another story.
I love this one, and I've used it a little bit more recently, and I didn't really hear it until I started watching people on the YouTubes that were from abroad, and they would always say Bob's your uncle. What does Bob's your uncle mean?
Means That's it. You've made it. It's finished. Bob's your uncle.
Yeah.
It's like, there you
Bob's your
go.
uncle,
There you
you're
go.
done.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you
Bob's
go.
your uncle.
Do this, do that,
Yeah.
do the other thing, and then Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Heard that
Robert
before.
is your father's brother.
I feel like Canadians say that too. Like
Better.
Robert
Say
is
it.
your father's brother.
All right. Here's my last one, which people are probably saying at this point in time. Sod off. Sod off. SODOFF. What does sod off mean?
Yeah,
Use
that
it in a
means-
sentence.
That means F you. It means get lost. Here's my middle finger. Sod off, you tosser.
It means go forth and multiply.
Oh, that's too good. Piss off. That's what they have here. So anyway, I love these terms, Ian.
Yeah,
Why don't you
pissed
use
is
them?
weird as well, right? Pissed over here
Yeah.
means to be angry.
Yeah.
And pissed just
right.
means to be drunk in the UK.
Yeah, there's lots of crazy things that, like, what do you call a drinking fountain?
Drinking fountain?
But what did you call it before you came over here? Bubbler?
What?
Bubbler.
Did you call it a bubbler?
No. never
No?
heard that one.
I thought that was the British term for that.
Maybe. Not where I grew up.
Well, there's probably, no joke, another 50 of them here. Obviously, we're not going to go through them, but we might have to have a little thing.
We'll have another one next
There
week.
you go.
This is fun.
Are there any terms? I've asked you this before. Now that we've kind of primed the pump for you, are there any terms that you think that we need to start using here more, or something that sparked a memory from like years past when you were a kid that when you lived over in Britain that you used to use all the time? That it's like, oh, I forgot about that word. That's a good one.
Yeah, you put me on the spot. I know in Leicester, where I'm from, we used to call a bicycle a grid.
A grid?
A grid.
Ace.
And if you
That's cool.
and carrying your friend on the back of the bike while you were pedaling, remember doing that? That's a croggy.
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 I
So
love that. I
gives
love
it-
that one.
Give us a croggy on your grid. Me.
Oh man, looking with the Riz, bringing the Riz, bringing the Riz. No cap.
All right. Well, thanks for playing along, boys. That's
It's like when you're in Barney.
in Barney.
Yeah.
What's that?
Barney Trouble?
Oh, all right.
You're in trouble. That was from Ocean's 11. That's all I know.
Abso-bloody-lutely. Another one, yeah. All right, let's move on to one last thing. Who wants to go first? Oh, Matt Legrand.
Oh, how
He's
about
here.
that?
Yeah.
He's always here. I always talk about watches. My one last thing is a hot seat question.
Oh,
Ian,
Let me just
Ian,
do that.
How do you like your Garmin watch? I'm always watches. 100%
it's
of the
good.
time. It's all about
I found
watches.
a Garmin Phoenix 6X on Facebook Marketplace. Picked it up for cheap, and it's good. It's good fun. I like the way it integrates with my Garmin Connect app and tells me how well I slept. And
Yeah, I love that part.
Getting your morning report every day now,
resting heart rate, all of that good stuff.
and yeah,
And it tells the time too. So
It also tells the time.
Look at
That's
that.
huge. That's
Yeah,
huge.
love it.
I just posted a video about a Suunto watch this morning. Video's doing fine. Check it out. If you guys want to see info on a Suunto watch.
what do you
Next
have on
up,
right now? You've got two on right now.
I'm going to do the e-bike next, probably, or get into these Apple Watches, which are way late. They're way overdue for posting some videos. I got two Apple Watches on. They're basically, I have the three new-ish Apple Watches. Basically, one's just a color update of the Apple Watch Ultra. Then the Apple Watch Series 10, small size, Apple Watch Series 10, big size. That's the video that kind of people want to.
What do you enjoy doing more? Do you enjoy more the 100-day review, kind of breaking it down and giving your 2 cents, or more of the, hey, this just dropped, here's what I know about it, I got to play with it for a few days, read the specs, and it could be a good watch?
Don't love doing, and this happens a lot where they're like, this watch is dropping in one day. Here, we got this to you the night before. Can you get a video out? And you have all this pressure to do a video, and then the quality of the video isn't exactly what I like to have. So I dislike that immensely. And then the problem is that when you have a brand new product that people want to learn about on these release days, like not a lot of people are searching around for Apple Watches anymore because they learned all the stuff that they need to learn already. So it's a little bit frustrating to be like the thing that I want to do, which is spend a month checking out the watch and then post a really solid review versus what gets views, which is posting it early.
So really, it falls down on the brands for not getting the stuff to you in an appropriate amount of time so you can really dig your teeth into it.
And I'm not like a big wig. People are not knocking down my doors to be like, we got this product coming up in a month and we want you to have it first. Like they do that for other, creators, just not me, for example. But the The other problem with that is if you do get a product a month in advance, then you're still getting like software updates every night with fixes, and they're still like they're cramming to get stuff fixed and launched and ready before their actual launch date, which sometimes they even have to push back. So you can end up with like a crap product, which I think has happened recently with like the Koros Duracycling computer. Like a lot of the reviewers were like reviewing it from the software that was 2 weeks old, and then Koros is pushing updates like up until the release date, and then they push the release date back, and these reviewers are like, yeah, we're reviewing it on the software that you gave it on, and it was crap, and so that's what the reviews came out with. So
Ouch.
yeah, it can be double-edged sword, but
It's tough too because it's not like that product's going to live for the next 3 or 4 years. It's like, all right, I've got to get this information in this certain amount of time. I've got to get it out there. It's got to be relevant still, and
that each product is slightly different. Like the e-bike, they have a date that is ideal for. They're kind of launching as I think October 8th. Not that I'm supposed to tell people these sorts of things, but like October 8th, I think is the date that they want the release of that product. So I think that's what the plan is for that one. So to have a video along with that. Whereas the Apple Watch, now that I'm past the prime, like I don't feel quite as much pressure to be on a specific date.
Yeah.
So I might do something and just call it like review after a month.
Yeah, but it's also a good time of year to be releasing that stuff because a lot of people are going to start looking for the holidays and like, all right, well, I think I might want to get one of these. I've maybe been holding out before Black Friday or Cyber Monday, whatever it might be.
All these companies are trying to get all of their stuff out the door as soon as possible because they know that the holiday season shopping starts.
Yeah, and
starts now.
If I'm a consumer and I see a Matt Legrand video that dropped, in
if you see a Matt Legrand video, you drop everything you're doing, you watch it, and you click play.
Yeah, if I watch a video from you that came out mid to late October and we're in November, I'm going to put a little bit more weight into that as opposed to one that was dropped the day that it released and that person moved on to 50 other things and they're just reading specs to you.
There are, the reading spec things. Most of the good people that do videos don't just sit around and read specs. I think that, I just don't follow those people. So maybe I don't see it as much. I mean, your Lance Heplers of the world. Those guys they're crap.
Trash.
Yeah.
Wankers.
We needed a British. I needed a British term, and I was lost. At a loss for one.
Nice. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah.
Ian, you got one last thing for us?
Yeah, I'm working in Training Peaks on a project going on. It's going to be a 18-week strength training program. Nice. There's going to be 2 versions. One, which is a strength gym work on its own that you can basically overlay into your existing calendar, whether you're working with a coach or you have Training Peaks bike workouts in there from some other program. Just the gym workouts, and there'll be another version where it's going to be a whole off-season program. So,
how many quid will that set me back?
I haven't decided right now, but you'll be able to purchase it from the. I don't know. We'll figure it out, but it's going to be available in the Training Peaks workout store. So
tenner or 2,
something like that.
No cap.
Couple of blue ones.
I don't know how to use that word.
Bring the rids. I think that's a good idea. I think it'll be fun. I really want to talk to Evan about some triathlon training programs and things like that to release.
It's going to be. It's a strength training program. It's not just going to be leg workouts for the bike. So it's going to be like a full body thing.
Curls for the girls.
Curls for the girls. Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Anyway, excited about that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Yep.
So I already mentioned what's coming up. The cyclocross state championships this Saturday at Alderbrook Park, and then Sunday, the Zaldercross cyclocross race, the final race in the Harvest Cyclocross Series. Scott Schultz has put on a fantastic series. We're all super happy with it. And Alderbrook Park is a great place to come hang out. It's a cool spot. If you've never been there, there's a lot of things to do. There's a little lake. There's a petting zoo. There's a pink lemonade fountain.
Yes. That's famous.
Famous pink lemonade fountain. It's a cool place to come. They have a restaurant on site.
They serving up any bangers?
No bangers and mash.
Sounds like it's going to be a dog's bollocks.
It's the dog's bollocks.
Good nosh. Good nosh.
That's it.
All right, sweet. I am actually going to be leaving early tomorrow morning, and I'm driving total of 12 hours to watch my son play football.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
High school. There
Matt,
you go.
Who at Camas High School schedules the football games? And why are the Camas JV and varsity team
I do,
driving
actually.
all the way to freaking
That's
Coeur
my
d'Alene
job.
to play a football game?
That's my job, actually. I just thought you guys would. I thought the scenery would be nice. I thought you would love it.
Jeez.
Coeur d'Alene's pretty.
Coeur d'Alene's nice.
It is pretty.
Whoever that person is,
Have
they're
fun.
a plonker. Freaking plonker.
Jake's
Wanking
got this,
plonker.
he's got an endless list of British phrases in front of him.
Blimey. No, yeah, but it'll be fun. It'll be a good time. We're going to go out there and watch my son play. They play at 4 o'clock tomorrow, and then the varsity team will play at 7 o'clock. So we'll stick around and watch both those games and stay the night and drive back the next morning. I do feel bad for some of the kids, though. Granted, they do have some charter buses, so they'll have bathrooms on there, and the kids, I'm sure, will bring provisions and whatnot. But they're going to have to drive 6 hours, get there, do their whole pregame warm up, play the game, stick around, watch the varsity game, and varsity doing kind of the same thing beforehand. Then after that's done, load up the buses and they're driving back, and they're going to get back at like 5 o'clock in the morning. So we're going to drive out there ourselves, and I'm sure a lot of people will as well.
Yep.
But I don't know. There's something about that just makes me not feel comfortable. Like my kid sitting on a bus with some tired bus driver that drove all the way out there to drive all the way back. I don't know. Just what it is. So we'll drive him back the next morning after we've been well rested and got some food and some coffee in us. Yeah. So anyway, should be fun though.
That's one of the things that's like they're trying to cut budgets and things like that, and they really want the coaches to drive for some of the races. And I basically was like, I would do that only if I was doing it like on a mid morning and not doing it at the end of a cross country race. Because at the end of a cross country race, we've been like up in the morning, getting the team up and moving, watching and running around a race for basically like 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah.
And then like dinner with the team, and then we're driving back usually at night, and it's like I will fall asleep at the wheel and kill a whole bunch of kids. Like I am not doing that. That is a no-go.
What's the allure to go to Coeur d'Alene? I don't even know if they have a good football team there, and I know that Camas is trying to play against stronger teams, and rightfully so, because they're one of the top-ranked teams in the state. So I don't know why you would do something like that.
They probably made that schedule 18 months ago or 2 years ago, and Coeur d'Alene may have been very good at the time, and so it was already on the calendar. That's my guess.
So dealing with this with my own team, like a lot of times you are looking for competition, and you got to travel to find good competition.
Sure.
But
Coeur d'Alene, though, driving all the way to freaking Idaho.
Where else is
Coeur d'Alene is
there's
bussin'.
There's good competition. There's good competition in Portland, I would think, like in our greater Portland area.
West Lynn, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Lance, did you catch the final score of the Camas versus your old alma mater?
The Oregon City game? I did not. What was the score?
I think the final score was 44-14. And the last touchdown was a gimme. And the first one was kind of like, that was not lucky, but like, I don't know. They weren't going to mimic that or do that again.
So it was a papermaker stomp of the Pioneers then?
It was. Sorry, dude. Yeah, the final score was 48-14. So, good game.
That's Dirk Gucci.
All right,
Don't like it.
Let's get out of here. We will be back next week with another one of these. Thanks for listening, and until then, bye for now.
Bob's your uncle.